9-year-old dies in government custody. Father wants answers. Diabetic 9-year-old. Let's put his picture up. Full mass here. This is in Arizona. An Arizona single father named Richard Blodgett is demanding to know what happened to his son. His 9-year-old son. His name is Jacob. Jacob died in state custody while the dad was in jail on a drug possession charge. Let me give you some background to this and what happened. Jacob and his father had been living in a motel when Blodgett was arrested in December. Mr. Blodgett, who already had a drug case pending and has spent time in prison, said was operating a backhoe much of the day and pulled over at a gas station to take a nap, said the report. Officers wrote that they suspected got it off as a result of drug use. Authorities ultimately found more than 4,000 fentanyl pills in his possession. Blodgett was jailed and charged with 1 count of drug possession. Navajo County Superior Court documents show. He told the AP he had been using fentanyl for pain management after he dropped 300 pounds with weight loss surgery. I wasn't getting high. I wasn't abusing them. I was using them to be able to work and provide for my son. After 2 weeks in state custody, however, his son passed away. A medical examiner listed Jacob's death in late December as natural, with complications from diabetes, a condition he was diagnosed with as a toddler, specifically type 1 diabetes, which means his body was unable to produce enough insulin to survive. Blodgett said he suspects the Arizona Department of Child Safety failed in its duty to protect his son, either by not monitoring his blood sugar levels or not ensuring that Jacob had enough insulin to prevent a serious life-threatening complication known as ketoacidosis, according to the report. Blodgett claims he only ever used the drugs that landed him in prison to self-medicate his pain. Obviously, his proclamation of this is quite normative within the context of particular illnesses, pains, and even mental health, self-medication. Not abnormal, happens a lot. We do know that whatever he was doing, his son didn't die, and his son was taken care of, according to the narrative we have, until the state stepped in. Arizona officials are not commenting, refusing to comment on the death, but it is part of a pattern per the report. In the fiscal year that ended last June, about 26 children, count that, 26 children died while in the agency's custody, including from overdoses, medical conditions, natural and still undetermined causes. In the previous fiscal year, that number was actually 14. The figures amount to a fatality rate of about 97 per 100,000 children during that period, almost double the rate for children in the general population of Arizona. Let's put up the director here, okay? Mike Faust, the director of the Arizona Department of Child Safety since 2019, was replaced last month by Matthew Stewart on the right. Stewart, who previously worked at DCS, has stepped away from his job at DCS after learning of racial disparities impacting Black families back in 2018. Now he's back to lead the agency. In 2022, the former director, Mike Faust, had to answer to lawmakers after countless reports of violence and drug use at foster homes owned by North Star Independent Living Services were ignored. It led to a teenage resident being shot and killed inside of one of those homes. So this story hits home for me because I was a foster kid myself. And I know about some of the cultural aspects of that kind of systemic service. It's not nice, it's not easy, it's not a fun place to be. It's cold, it's lonely, sometimes unforgiving in some ways. But this is even more extreme than the regular extremes that exist in foster systems. because they had a death rate rising at a level unprecedented year to year. And now they have a latest one. Man froze to death, mentally ill. Put up the pictures. Oh, one of the worst stories you'll hear. According to the lawsuit, a mentally ill, incarcerated individual froze to death in an Alabama jail. 33 years of age. His name was Anthony Mitchell. Anthony Mitchell alarmed his cousin when he showed up at his house on January 13th, haggard and emaciated. He was a little out of it, okay? Mitchell was acting unstable, he says, insisting he must enter a portal to hell in his mother's attic to retrieve the body of his long ago stillborn brother. He's having a tough time. After 911 call, Mitchell was picked up by the Walker County Sheriff's deputies who claimed he fired a gun at them and ran into the woods. Mitchell, who had a history of addiction, spiraled out of control in the months after his father's death, taking drugs again and experiencing mental health problems. The sheriff's office spokesperson, according to the lawsuit, told the family they'd get him medical help in Walker County Jail. Instead, what happened? Guards tased him. They tased Mitchell. They locked him up in a freezer, killing him, the suit alleges. The suit filed Monday also contends jail leadership began a cover-up of Mitchell's death hours before he died. This case, the suit says, therefore presents an appalling question. How does a man literally freeze to death while being incarcerated in a modern climate-controlled jail in the custody and care of correction officers? The lawsuit alleges the abuse and medical neglect Mitchell experienced at the hands of Sheriff Nick Smith and 13 staff members at the county jail, including corrections officers, nurses, and an investigator, was filed Monday in federal court in the Northern District of Alabama by Margaret Mitchell, who is Mitchell's mother and the administrator of his estate. A former deputy also filed a separate but related lawsuit on Monday in federal court in Alabama's Northern District. Former corrections officer Karen Kelly sued the Walker County Sheriff's Office and multiple cops for being fired and or for retaliation after she shared videos of Mitchell's family of him being abused in the jail. So you have a righteous actor, somebody that could not deal with the corruption. She literally becomes a whistleblower, advocates for justice. She gets retaliated against. Put up the picture. Look at that. At 8:30 a.m., officers removed Mr. Mitchell from his cell into a wheelchair, which he fell out of. His body made slow and spasmodic movements. Let's go to the next. 4 deputies then carried Mitchell out to an SUV. They placed him on the ground, allowing his head to rest on the concrete. In the video, he appeared unconscious. Officers then lifted him into the vehicle and drove him to the medical center. By the time they reached the hospital, Mitchell was breathing with difficulty, and deputies did not tell hospital staff Mitchell had been put in a damn freezer. Mitchell was cold to the touch when he arrived to the ER. Learning that Tony was hypothermic caused physicians to immediately change their course of treatment, as the measures they had initially employed were inappropriate to resuscitate a person who is severely hypothermic, the suit stated. After 3 hours of trying to save Mitchell, He was pronounced dead at 1:15 p.m. Basically, the family is saying, listen, if you would have told the truth upon arrival, the medical staff could have tried to actually help him based on that information, and it may have worked. Put up the picture of the sheriff. That's old Nick Smith, all right? Nick here, and communications officer TJ Armstrong gave a statement after CBS 42 reported on the family's story, saying, and I quote, the inmate was alert and conscious when he left the facility and arrived at the hospital. Damn lie. Damn lie. We have the video to prove it. The Alabama Enforcement Agency is now investigating the death. Additional abusive behavior, sheriff, at your facility. What you looking at? You're looking at jail staff. This was captured on security video. Guards dragging Mitchell out of a shower room as he lied naked on the ground. That's abuse. Next picture. January 15th, 2 days after he was taken to the jail, shows him being tased naked by a group of officers in the doorway of his isolation cell. Next picture. Mitchell relied on false teeth after years of drug use and lost his teeth as he was tased. Officer confiscated them, so an already out of it Mitchell was unable to chew food and went days without eating. The teeth were returned to Mitchell's mother after they killed him. Let me say this, sheriff, and to your deputies. None of you are real men. You're cowards. I tell your mama you're a coward.